So up until now, everything has been hypothetical. What will you do? What do you plan on doing? And now it is here. So what is the first thing you're going to tackle as state superintendent, and how exactly do you plan to do that?
You know, I mean, what I see is the first thing that I've got to step in and do is I've really got to start looking at the agency. I've got to start doing my own audit of all the programs there, all the money there, and where it's been going, how it's been utilized, to make sure that money is being used in the best, and the programs and the staff are being used in the best possible way for our kids, for our parents, for our teachers. And you know, I really see this as there's three items that we've really got to tackle really quickly in education. The first is getting the indoctrination out of the classroom. We have to get a focus back on the basics. We have to reject this radicalism from the far left that's injected itself into our schools. The second is we have got to get more power to parents. We've got to empower our parents. We've got to give them the choices. We've got to give them the transparency to see what's going on in their schools. And the last one is we have got to get the federal government out of dictating education policy to our schools. We as Oklahomans should determine what our education system looks like, what our schools look like, not Joe Biden, not the federal government. So those are three things that I'm going to look to tackle from day one.
When you're talking about these audits, I know the board approved a budget in this past few months. Do you plan on changing any specific things in that budget?
Great question. We are looking into that right now. I've had meetings with House and Senate leadership as well to help in the process here as we're developing what the education budget looks like, listening to their interest here and kind of concerns they've had in the past. And I'll tell you, I mean, that department has been a mess under Joy Hoffmeister. So I'm trying to get in there and really start to get a sense of where things have been allocated and how do we best invest in our kids. And so, you know, at the moment, we're still doing a deep dive into the budget, into resources and where they've been allocated. And I can assure Oklahomans of this, is I am going to be very, very attentive to ensure that their tax dollars are going to the best use of their kids. We have transparency in the way we spend dollars in education, and that they have accountability to know that our schools are doing a good job, that they're getting the education that their kids deserve.
Absolutely. So going off of that, Superintendent Hoffmeister has been in this position for 8 years now. What specific changes do you plan to make from what she implemented, and what kinds of things, if any, would you like to keep the same?
Right. So, you know, some of the things that we've got to change is Joy Hoffmeister has allowed the federal government to get more involved in our education system. She has allowed radical critical race theory into our schools. She's allowed pornography to enter into our schools and this radical sexual content that's inappropriate for our kids. We have to find ways to get that out of our schools. Our parents don't want that in our kids' education. We understand our kids are not reading on the grade on the grade level that they should. They aren't proficient in math in the way that they should. And what we need is a refocus on those basics. When I talk to parents across the state, they want to know that their kids are getting a great education. They want to know that their kids are getting the skills necessary and to enter the workforce. And so what we've got to do is we've got to find ways to block the federal government's overreach in these areas. We've got to push the radical left's ideology out and again refocus on those basic building blocks of education and make sure that money is getting to our teachers in the classroom. I've been very frustrated with the administrative growth that's happened over the last 8 years. We have had a lot more administrative positions enter into the state. We now have more administrative staff than we have teachers in the state of Oklahoma. So what we've got to do is we've got to refocus through transparency and accountability to make sure that money is getting to our teachers, to their paychecks, but also to the resources they need to teach. And so our teachers have to be supported through that education budget. So I'm going to continue to push to move education dollars from bureaucracy to the classroom. And again, we haven't seen the transparency that Oklahomans deserve. Parents should be able to see what's going on in their schools. Parents should be able to see how education dollars are spent in their schools. This has not been the case for the last 8 years. We will bring that to parents so that they can truly be in charge of their kids' education. Those are things that the department should be able to do for parents, and we will do.
Another thing that you've talked about is the parent choice program or the voucher program, things like that. How long realistically do you think this is going to take to implement, and what is it going to take to actually implement this?
Yeah. We need full parental empowerment as soon as humanly possible. At this legislative session, we need full parental freedom in their kids' education. Parents should be the decision maker in their kids' education. I am unequivocal about that. There's nobody who knows best for kids than their mom and their dad. The faster that we empower parents in that way, the faster our kids will get a better education. So I am dedicated to, as soon as possible, this session, as soon as possible, giving parents the ultimate freedom in their kids' education. This is the ultimate change in education that we've got to do. We've got to bring transparency and accountability and choice to the kitchen table so that parents can make decisions for their kids. And so we have got to get this. We've got to empower every Oklahoma family. Every single one should be empowered with this decision, no matter their background, no matter where they live in the state. They should all be empowered by being able to make the decision on their kids' education. And so I have a real sense of urgency that we need to get that done immediately, and we need to actively start helping parents make those decisions through making all that what's going on in the school transparent. Because again, when you have the choice, you have the options, you then need to be able to see how schools are performing, how they're spending money, what kind of programs they offer, what their teachers are involved in there, so that then you can, as a parent, can sit down and look at all of those things and go, oh, well, I would like to send my kid here, or I want my kid involved in this program. And I hear it all over the state. You know, parents are concerned about the radicalism that's entered their schools, and they're also concerned that their kids aren't being prepared for the workforce. They have a lot of concerns about what are the jobs of tomorrow and are my kids being prepared for that? And we have got to get our schools back on track to provide that for our students.
Some people have brought up concerns, specifically rural teachers and teachers in maybe some lower income areas that they may be out of a job. That this may bring up some problems for those teachers. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry that the teachers union has lied about what school choice and parental empowerment means for teachers. The reality is, when you empower parents to choose the school of their choice for their kids, one of the top factors that parents look at are the quality of the teachers. Parents want their kids with great teachers. The more you empower parents, the more you're going to hear parents going out and seeking out the best teachers. They're going to seek out more supports for those great teachers. They're going to reward districts that actually take care of their teachers. And what you're going to continue to see is incentives for teacher pay to go up. You're going to see incentives for teachers to be taken care of. I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, as a parent who's both of my daughters in a public school have great teachers, it's such a rewarding feeling to hear their stories when they come home about how prepared they are. I've got a daughter in kindergarten that is so excited she's learning to read. I've got a daughter in third grade that, I mean, her math skills have just taken off. She was bragging to the family over Christmas, showing all the different math equations she can do. And she's got great teachers. She's excited to go to school every day. And the more that we empower parents, the more parents will continue to seek out the best teachers, the more they will reward the school districts that take care of their teachers. And ultimately, we've got to empower parents, but our schools have to do what they can to support our teachers. And I've heard the frustration from teachers all over the state that they're not getting the resources they need, that they are being micromanaged by their administrators, they're not being supported by their administrators, that there's a lack of discipline in their schools. Administrators have to make sure that teachers have what they need to be successful in the school for the good of those kids. And we're going to continue to advance that.
And with that, I know one of the big problems, not just here, but everywhere, is the teacher shortage. Mm-hmm. How do you plan to combat that? Yeah,
most states are dealing with the teacher shortage. And the thing that we've got to do differently, and that the governor and I have already advanced, and we have got to start pushing from the department, is we have got to find the best and brightest teachers, and they've got to make more money, okay? I'm telling you right now, to have great teachers, my two daughters having the tremendous teachers they have, I'm telling you, those teachers should make a lot of money. I'm telling you, it's hard to even put a price on what it means to have a year with an incredible teacher. So again, we push this through. We've got to find these high-performing teachers. We've got to pay them a lot more. And then the thing that we've got to do is we've got to utilize the best and brightest teachers to help onboard new teachers, to help provide supports and training to teachers that are struggling. Because the reality is there is no better gift you can give a new teacher or a struggling teacher than an incredible teacher who can help show them the ropes, who can help them find best practices. And that's the key to getting teachers to stay, rewarding them for their time, giving them those supports necessary. And again, I'm going to continue to say administrators have to get discipline back in our schools. I have heard from so many teachers that are having these incredible discipline problems, and their administrators are not helping them. You can be the greatest math teacher in the world, But if you're continuing to deal with discipline problems and you're not provided supports with those kids and backup in the classroom, you're going to continue to struggle, and it's going to be frustrating to you. So those are things we have to do. And the other thing that I continue to hear from teachers is they are frustrated with the ideology that's being pushed on them that has nothing to do with the academics of the school. I hear this from, I've heard from science teachers in Tulsa Public School that say, hey, we shut down our science classes for 6 weeks to teach sex ed. I didn't come here to teach sex ed. I came here to teach biology. And so those are things that we have got to continue to push back on that ideology. Tell teachers, you're a great math teacher. I want to give you the support and resources necessary to be a great math teacher. And I want to support you by ensuring the school has a culture of discipline so that you can do your job. If we do those things, we'll get great teachers in the classroom.
Last kind of thing is, what can, everyone involved, teachers, parents, and kids look forward to in your at least next 4 years? And then what do you have to say to the people that have criticized you during your campaign?
Yeah. So, I am so excited. It's an incredible responsibility. In every decision I make, I'm going to put kids first. I'm going to always do what I think is best for kids. That's what I've always done as a teacher, as a parent. I'm going to always try to make sure that every single Oklahoma student in every part of the state has the best opportunity at success possible. And I think that should be all of our goals, is to treat kids as individuals, know they're all unique, God created them that way, and to give them all the necessary training and pathways to be successful. And that's what we've got to continue to do. And we know that doing that, I'm going to continue to champion the voice of parents. I firmly believe that no one knows best for their kids than their parents. That's the way that God intended for this to work, that the family unit is so key here. So I'm going to continue to be a voice for parents. I'm going to continue to listen to parents. I'm going to continue to bring that transparency to our schools. And I'm going to continue to support our teachers. I want our best and brightest teachers to be elevated. I want us to learn from what they're doing that is making an incredible difference in our kids' lives. So when you support parents, when you put kids first, and when you support our teachers, we can have an incredible education system. And so I'm really excited about that. And I think that as long as we continue down this road of pushing back on the federal government, giving parents the power, not the feds, supporting our teachers, getting more out of administration into the classroom, the path forward is very bright for our students. And I'm going to always fight for kids. I'm going to always fight for parents. And, the teachers union and the radical leftists and the Biden administration, if they want to be critical of that, so be it. But I will never back down from fighting for our kids, from fighting for our parents. And that's the way that I'm going to lead with the department. That's the way that I'm going to lead for our kids and our parents. And I'll always listen to parents.
And then one last thing. You got some criticism on a recent post you made.
Yeah.
The caption, "No woke Santa this year."
Yeah.
I know you followed that up with a video.
Yeah.
What exactly did you mean by that post?
Yeah.
And how do you think people misinterpreted that, like you said?
Yeah, I think it's really, really unfortunate that you've got radical leftists that have so mischaracterized that, and they know what they were doing. They know that there was no racial component to that. That's a ridiculous claim. It's insulting. It's an attempt to character assassinate me, and I absolutely will not tolerate it. The reality is we know that over the past few years we have seen a continued push by the left to say, you don't say Merry Christmas. We have Santas that only say Happy Holidays. We're taking nativity scenes out of malls. This has been all a part of what's been going on around Christmas. So a post about a Santa that still says Merry Christmas, the radical left tries to turn into a fake controversy and try to turn it into this fake uproar. But the reality is they know, everybody knows, there was absolutely nothing racial to that. It was simply a statement around Christmas time about the need to continue to support Merry Christmas. We're not going to back down because woke leftists say you can't say Merry Christmas. We can say Merry Christmas. We can support the nativity scenes. We can remember that Christ is the reason for the season. That's okay. We're going to continue to do it. And just because the left wants to throw a fit about it online doesn't mean that we're going to stop doing those type of things. So that would be my response to that.
Absolutely. Those are my main things. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, going into this position? Anything else you would like to tell parents, anyone?
I would tell parents, I'm gonna fight for you. That this is going to be an administration that I'm always going to be someone that looks to you, that knows that you know best for your kids. that this department, I want you reaching out to us. I want you talking to us about your concerns. I'm going to be very active in the communities. I'm going to be very active in reaching out to you all because you know best. And what we've gotten wrong in education is we've continued to take power away from parents. We've continued to hide things from parents. And that is when this education system has gotten so out of whack. To get us back on track, we have to put parents in charge of their kids' education. And parents, I'm going to advocate for you. I'm going to champion you as the person who knows best for your kids. And I'm going to continue to make decisions on what I feel are the kids' best interests and putting parents in charge of their kids' education.